Russian cannon. What is it doing in Trim? Well, it's the story of communist cells, British imperialism, and a lot of discussion. Today, it is one of the main attractions here outside the castle. Kids love to climb and play on it. But in fact, it comes from a very troubled time back in the 1850s when the Crimean War was fought. The cannon at Trim was captured during the Crimean War, most probably from the port of Sebastopol, and gifted to Trim in thanks for the town's support for the war. It still bears the Tsar's coat of arms, the Romanov double-headed eagle. It was made in the year 1845 and it weighs 2,200 kilograms or 1,400 weight. The Trim Municipal Commissioners, under Harcourt Lightburn, who was the chairman, petitioned the War Office to obtain a portion of the trophies of the war, like the municipal authorities of several cities and towns in the United Kingdom and Ireland. There are similar Crimean cannons in Ennis, Galway, Newry and about another 10 towns in Ireland. This old Russian gun was one of nearly 3,000 that was captured during the Crimean War. Turkey, Britain, France and their allies fought Russia, with the main focus of the Crimean War being the Allied siege of the principal Russian naval base on the Black Sea, Sevastopol. The siege lasted over a year. This war gave us the Victoria Cross, Florence Nightingale, the Charge of the Light Brigade and the Tin Red Line. The Victoria Cross is said to be made from one of these cannons, but actually it is Chinese guns that are used for this. There have been at least 5 Meath people who won the Victoria Cross. John Pratt Winter of Ahar Summerhill was a captain of Her Majesty's 17th Regiment of the Light Dragoon Lancers. He fell leading the 2nd Squadron of his regiment in the heroic but disastrous charge of the Light Brigade in October 1854. The war was ended by the Treaty of Paris in 1856. In 1858, Trim, as county capital, was pleased to receive a cannon. At a ceremony, it was presented to the town by Lieutenant Colonel Slade on behalf of the Commander of Forces. A distinguished crowd listened to his speech. It included Dean Butler, Dr. O'Reilly, local priests, Harcourt Lightburn, the chairman of the Trim Borough Commissioners, Captain Pendleton, Mr. Odlum and Mr. Mooney and others. Lieutenant Colonel Slade said he presented the cannon as a memento of the struggle in Crimea, in which our countrymen behaved so nobly and shed their blood so freely in upholding the honour of their country. Mr. Lightburn thanked the Lieutenant Colonel and said the county would take care of the cannon and erect it on a suitable pedestal. The grand jury decided that the cannon should be erected in front of the new jail opposite the castle. In 1858, there was an attempt to fundraise from the gentlemen of Meath in order to provide a suitable pedestal for the cannon, but this does not seem to have been successful. Many decades later, a new Garda barracks was erected in front of the jail wall in the 1940s, and the jail itself demolished in the 1950s. The front wall was allowed to continue to stand, but the cannon became hidden from view. In 1961, a call to move the cannon to a more suitable viewing place began. At the Trim Urban Council meeting, Councillor C.A. Riley suggested moving the cannon to a more prominent position in the town. He suggested placing it on the island at Market Square, and felt it would be a great attraction. Councillor P. Doran said that the cannon should be given away to a scrap merchant. It is a relic of British dominance, he said. The chairman, J.F. Cochran, replied, "If that be so, then what about King John's Castle?" On the suggestion of the county manager, it was decided that the council write to the Trim Town Improvement Committee, asking them to take whatever action in the matter they thought fit. At the Town Improvements Association, Councillor C.A. Riley suggested moving the cannon to the traffic island at Market Square, but there was no seconder for the proposal and the matter was dropped. In December 1962, the subject of the cannon was again in the news. At the Trim Urban Council, Councillor C.A. Riley again suggested the traffic island in Market Square, but Councillor A.J. Griffith said the island was already a hindrance to traffic and he did not care where the cannon went as long as it was not there. The chairman, J.F. Cochran, suggested that it be placed in the grounds of the Castle Fields, where it would be visible from Castle Street. In January 1963, the matter was raised again, and Councillor Tom Dempsey made the bold declaration that the move to have this cannon prominently displayed in Trim is linked with communist cells which are reported to be active in Ireland. A discussion ensued as to the placing of the cannon, with the suggestion of the castle grounds overlooking Castle Street, but this would require the permission of Lord Dunsany as the landowner. Councillor Dempsey said that an English newspaper had treated the town unfairly, as it suggested the Russian cannon had links to communist cells active in Ireland. He felt that the matter should be dropped immediately so as to avoid any more red publicity. Councillor O'Reilly denied the cannon had any connection with the communists. He said that only a rag would associate the cannon with the communists. The chairman said, "As long as I am chairman, I hope this matter will never be brought up again." In August 1970, Councillor Riley was back on the subject again, asking that the cannon be moved to a more prominent site. In the mid-1970s, the cannon was finally moved to its current location. Norman Pratt, Joe Fitzsimons and others were involved in getting the cannon moved. It was transported on a Norman Pratt lorry. They tried the cannon facing the castle, but it felt it looked better facing away from the castle and defending it rather than attacking it. Thank you to Trim in Days of Yore Facebook page and its members, and especially to John McGee for photographs.